Hello, it's David. Welcome back for more painting for kids. We're working on watercolors, and last time we made this beautiful painting. I really like it. It's really colorful. Today we're going to make another awesome colorful painting, just in a different way. We're going to learn more watercolor techniques. These first couple lessons are more focused on technique and just doing some basic exercises, and then we'll go into doing like landscapes and things that actually look like things. So we're going to start off with our really big brush today. So get out your really big brush, get a cup of water ready to go, and your piece of paper, and we'll start painting. So today we're going to work on a technique that is called wet into wet. And to do that technique, we have to do what's called priming our paper first. So we have to prime our paper with a bunch of water first, and then we can go in and start putting some color in. And for today, right in the beginning here, I don't want you to use any brown or black. So those two colors are off the table. No brown or black until we get to the later part of the painting. But to start with, like I said, we have to prime our paper. So to do that, I want you to take your really big brush and get it pretty wet. It's okay if it's dripping this one time, but I usually don't let it drip. I usually take it out and you see it's dripping just a little bit, and then I kind of just, shake off that water a little bit. Get it nice and wet, and then just start coating your paper with the water. Go back in, get more water. Coat more paper. You want the paper to be fairly wet, and it's going to move a little bit. You see how mine kind of moved up and down? If you want to, you could tape it down. Put some painter's tape around the edges. A lot of watercolor painters do that, but you don't have to. I'm not doing it just because I didn't include any tape in the kit, so I'm going to do it without that. But just get all of your paper nice and wet. Go in both directions. Get it kind of wet. Keep going back in there. I got a little bit of watercolor left on my table from last time. Alright, now go back, get a little more water in. Really get that paper nice and wet. And now we're going to start painting in with one of our smaller brushes. I'm using the second smallest one. Get that wet, of course, and then pick a color. I'm going to start with blue, and I want you to just kind of put the color wherever you want. We're just experimenting today with how it kind of moves. You see how it really kind of spread like that? You can let it spread like that if you want, if that's how you like it. You can even do like little drips here and there. If you can get it to, there we go. Just kind of gently put it down onto your paper. But we want more color than that. So, of course, wash your brush off. Go back into another color. And start to see how the colors move together. When I put it in here, we get a nice wash with this wet paper. Your paper might not be wet enough still, so always keep your big brush around just to add a little more water here and there before you put in some color. Find another spot where some other color would look pretty good. Let's go with some yellow and kind of put that in. And really today this is all just about looking at how soft we can make the color and have it blend in together with other colors. We want a nice soft but very colorful painting. You see I'm just experimenting with how it spreads. Maybe I want to keep it that way. Maybe I want to change it. Can always come back with more water on top of a color I've already done. See how I did there with the orange? and then I kind of started spreading it out a little more. You can do a little bit over that blue. I really just want you to play around today. You know, play around with having your paper be nice and wet, and just put in different colors. And like if there's something like this where you like the way that did that, maybe you could even add a little bit to it by like taking a little bit of purple and seeing what that purple does there. You see how that spread? That looks really cool like that. I really like that. And we can put some purple over here. And then of course, like, keep wetting your paper down in spots where it's not, where it's dried out. You want to keep it nice and wet. But really what we're going for is stuff like this. These little strange accidents that happen when the water flows together, and kind of just let it go. Ooh, that looks really cool. It's fun. And that's, you know, like I said, that's how you really do this wet into wet technique. It's really about nice soft color that kind of blends into other colors. And you can kind of push some of that water around a little bit. Play around with it today. Like, ooh, I want some of that purple here. I want some dark purple there. And you can just leave it right there and let it dry. And then over here, I want it to be a little softer. So I'm going to spread it around a little more. And you can even take a bigger brush like this one, get it wet, and use that to spread it around a bit. The main thing is just don't use your biggest brush, because right now we're just using that to wet the paper. But we've got a good amount of water on our paper. We can just see how these colors kind of blend together. Let's go back in. Let's go back into some green. I want some more green down here. There's no wrong way to do this. And like I said, really today it's just about playing around with the watercolors, playing around with the way that they move through the water when you have a really wet piece of paper like this. Our main goal for this is to try and get rid of most of the white. A little bit of white like here and there is okay, but we want to try and get rid of most of it. Right to the edge. Of course, it's okay to paint on your table a little bit. You can always clean that up. It wipes right off. Let's see what happens when we put a little purple in there. Ooh, that looks pretty cool. And you get that nice spread effect. If you want it to stay like that, you basically just have to let it sit and dry. Like over here, I want some of this to just stay the way it is. So I'm just going to let that dry. But I do want some more purple in here. I really like the way that this purple and the red and blue kind of join together. All right, I'm seeing my paper is pretty dry up here. So I'm going to go in and get this wet again, because I'm going to start painting up here and working on that area. Let's put some more orange up there, and maybe some yellow. Now, orange and blue don't really mix together. You see how they kind of went over each other there? They do mix a little bit, but they're complementary colors, so they kind of make each other stand out. So anytime you go over like blue with this orange, it's going to make your blue stand out even more. It's not going to blend together too well. Not like orange and yellow, or orange and red. Like orange and red over here, you see they kind of blend into each other. But orange and blue don't really do that together. Let's get a bit of yellow in there. Let's put some yellow over here. Watch some of that water spread. Maybe you got a little too much water. If you got a little too much water, you can always wipe it off with a paper towel. I've got one right over here. Let's kind of get a paper towel and just wipe a little bit of that off. There we go. A little too much water going on, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can always go back and dry it off or add more water if you need more. Now let's put some more red up over here. Let it spread around. And now in some of the spots, now that I've got most of this painted and most of my paper is still pretty wet, now I could use my big brush if I wanted to and kind of start blending these colors a little more or overlaying on top of these colors like I'm doing with the green here. I'm overlaying, this is what's called a wash. If you use it a light color over on top of another color, it's called a wash. So you can find the spots here and there where you could do a wash like this, or you could just leave it. But I wanted my painting to have a little bit of softness. I didn't want spots like here where the colors are too contrasting, I guess is the right word. I don't want them to contrast too much. And I want things to be soft colors moving into each other. So I'll go back over that bit a little bit. And then around here, get a little more water. And go back and paint over some of these spots. Now what other color could I have back over here? Maybe I want some more yellow over here. So like I said, yellow and orange work really well together. Works pretty well with red. We're just trying to get, you know, like here, where it's nice and soft areas of color moving into other colors. But you get to decide where the colors go, how much of each color. And this is looking pretty good. Now the painting isn't done yet either, but it's looking pretty good. I do want to come back over here and kind of overlay some of this. I don't want it to stand out as much, but you could if you want. You just don't have a lot of spots like this. I think maybe I'll leave that, and then we'll go over with just a little more blue in a few spots here and just let that blue kind of just spread on its own. Ooh, that's cool. I like the way that one happened. I like that. We'll put that one there, and I do like that one over there. We'll put one more drop of blue back in here where there was some blue. We just want that blue to stand out even a little bit more and let it spread like that. Let's see. Where else could I add a little bit more color? Maybe some orange can go up here. Now again though, there's no wrong way to do this. You do it however you want, as long as your paper is still pretty wet. But you got to work now on it before it really dries. So once it dries, then it becomes a different technique, and we have to work on it in a different way. We just want to leave it the way it is today, like this. We want it to be wet for now. I think that's pretty good. Don't want to do too much more to it, but I do want a little more color around here and maybe a little more yellow around that area and have that move in together with this orange. And you see here you get like these nice spots where they really blend really well together. Now, how could you apply this though to like another type of painting? Like if we were going to do a landscape, well, doing like, let's say it is a sunset, and we want to use orange and yellow and red. Well, you'd want to use a wet into wet technique though, so you can get this nice soft gradual colors that move into each other. So I want to leave this for now. We want to let this dry. So it's probably going to take about 15 minutes for this to dry because it is pretty wet now. Might even take a little bit longer. But we do want this to dry. So go ahead and pause the video right now and let this dry, and we'll come back and finish it off. Alright, our painting is finally dry. It's just a little bit damp, but that'll be okay. And we're going to finish it off by putting our name on it. I'm going to put my name across the whole painting, and we're going to try and do it with a little bit of style. So, what I want you to do is I want you to use like your second smallest brush, get it wet, and put a little bit of water into your black. Remember last week I said like I'd put in like a little drop or two into the paint. That's what I'm doing here. Just put a little bit in there. And I want you to think about like how big your name has to be to go all the way across. If you make a mistake, well, that's what the other sheets of paper are for. You can start over, make another cool wet into wet painting like this, and try it again. But I think you could probably get it the first time. But my first name is David, so I'm going to put David across here. And I've got a good amount of black on my brush. I want you to just do your best in writing your name out. And you want to make sure that your brush is pretty wet though. Not dripping, but pretty wet, so that you can do this. You just do it right the first time. Go back, get more water on the brush, come back, and just do your best to paint it in right the first time. You can always come back and go over it a little bit. There we go. Now let's put in the A comes next. So I'll put in a little A like right here. There we go. And now a V. Go back in and get some more water on the brush. If I wanted a little darker, I'd go over it a second time. There we go, we got an I. Let's finish it off with the end here with our last D. And there we go. But this isn't all we're doing. Now I want you to go back in and I want you to decorate. Oh, see here it's spreading a little bit. I didn't wait long enough for it to dry, but it'll be okay. Just go over it a little bit more on there. Here we want our letters to be, you know, nice and crisp looking, good clean lines on it. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to decorate it a little bit. So find different spots like here, like with my eye. Oh, I got a nice circle there. Let's make another circle that goes here. Oh, let's put in another circle. How about another circle? There we go. Oh, and maybe another circle. And how about another circle? All the way to the top of my paper where we have like a little half circle. And I'll put in a little dots here and there in my circle. Put one in the middle. One's on the side there. One in the middle. One in the middle. One in the middle. And let's try doing like some lines across this. Make it up however you want, but I want you to go back in and decorate your letters another way. Like every spot of it should be decorated a little bit. Let's put another circle inside this circle for the D. And then maybe even a dot in the middle so it looks kind of like a bullseye. That's pretty cool. All right, this spot here, I think we'll put some diagonals going up like that. Now I want you to practice with your brush doing it in different ways. Like here, you saw I made kind of a thicker line by pressing down harder onto the brush. And over here, I did these diagonals, and we'll do some lines here by just using the very tip top of the brush and just gently touching it, not pressing very hard. We'll do that, and then we'll put in another line down there. And for this circle, I think I want to put in some lines that go around it like this. There's no wrong way to do it. I just want you to decorate every letter somehow. It's up to you to figure out how you want to decorate it. And then find these spots like here where it's a little lighter and go back over them a little bit. Like right here, I could use a little more on this eye. Make it a little thicker even. Looks pretty good. Now the big D, let's see. No, maybe I want something in the middle of this A here. Maybe a little bit like that. And then we'll put like a, you know, a little bit around it. And make it look kind of like a real eye. Like this is someone's eye looking at you. I'm just kind of making it up. But that's what I want you to do. That's like I said. I want you to make it up as you go around. Let's see, with this D, let's see, what do we do here? Maybe we'll put some lines in first over here. We got a lot of space to work with on this one. There we go. And let's put in some diagonals going up like that. Let's get some more paint. That looks pretty good. Let's see, maybe we'll go in with like a line here. Make it a little thicker. This is what I want you to practice with now though, is find spots where you can press hard on the brush and make a nice thick line, and find spots where you can gently touch it and make a thin line. And let's put in a nice thin line right here, and then like right there. I'm not going to let it go all the way to the end. And let's see, maybe we want one more D on the inside like that. Lastly, you can kind of decorate a few more things around it. I think what I'm going to do, let's see, I think like right here, I'm going to put in a little kitty face. So let's put that in here. Little kitty with some ears. Or maybe it looks more like a dog, I don't know. I'm just kind of making it up. Just because I have a little extra space here. Let's put that there. Maybe he's Grumpy Cat or something. I'm just kind of playing. But that's what you can do with like the extra space that you have. Put in a little Grumpy Cat like this, or maybe he's a smelly cat. Put some little stink lines around him, I don't know. Whatever you want to do. I think that looks pretty great. This looks like a very cool painting. I hope yours comes out just as great as this, if not better. I'm sure it's better than mine. Next week, we'll work on doing a landscape painting where we'll talk about what the horizon line is. But yeah, this painting came out great. I hope yours did as well. I will see you next time, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.